How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Duos podcast. This is Tanner Hayworth. You guys will be later joined by my podcast co-host, Nevan Isaiah Pack. He had a wonderful conversation with the League of Legends team over at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. Yeah, that's right. We're branching out. We're not just in Manoa. We're going out all the way to the west side for this conversation. He's going to be talking with their League of Legends team, who just won the NECC championship all the way over there in West Oahu. So be looking forward to that conversation. On this side of the conversation, I'll be kind of more connecting to the professional side of one of the more popular sports in the United States of America, and especially here in Hawaii. In football, over the weekend was the NFL draft. It is kind of the day where a lot of people's dreams finally do come true. Now, the NFL draft, when you get drafted to a team, I think a lot of people need to realize this is the 1% of the 1% of people that get to play in Division One football. So this is a very small elite club of once you join the NFL, that's forever on your resume. And whether it be for a year, 5 years, or 20 years, you'll still have that respect of at least making it to the NFL. Now, in terms of the University of Hawaii the last couple of years, it's been a real struggle to get guys drafted into the league from the university. The most recent guys I can think of are the likes of Jelani Devai, John Ursua, and Cole McDonald, all of that back in around 2018, 2019 with Nick Rolovich. Um, Unfortunately, we did have a really great crop of recruits. I think of guys like Cortez Davis, Darius Muasau, Nick Mardner, Chevin Cordero, Jonah Laulu. These are all names that should be guys that we should have talked about, drafted from the University of Hawaii. Unfortunately, due to the situation with the last football coach in Todd Graham, where he eventually was mutually parted ways with the university after a whole legislative session with the Senate Ways and Means Committee forced a meeting with him and Dave Matlin and kind of went over a lot of the kind of destruction of confidence that Todd Graham kind of did over this team. That basically caused a major exodus of this team of guys that I just mentioned. Chevin Cordero, he transferred over to San Jose State. Don't tell that to the Hawaii League of Legends team; they will hate that. Darius Muasau entered the portal. He goes to UCLA. Jonah Laulu goes to the University of Oklahoma. Nick Mardner would make his way to University of Cincinnati, eventually to Auburn. These are elite programs, and when you think about that, we had players on those levels be on this team. So once you come up to the NFL draft, you're just kind of hoping you get guys drafted. And luckily for us, a lot of people from Hawaii itself was drafted. You think of guys like Roman Wilson, St. Louis grad, Maris Liufau, Punahou graduate as well. But kind of near the back end, that's when you kind of started to see, I think, what you call now former University of Hawaii players drafted. And we can talk about the ethics of whether or not you claim someone or whether a player claims a team. I think it's safe to say most University of Hawaii fans are out there and ready to claim their players. So in terms of guys from the University of Hawaii getting drafted straight from UH, that did not happen this year. So that's another year where you don't see that happening. But we were very lucky in seeing a couple of very familiar names get their names called to get drafted by a couple of NFL teams. The names who I'm coming up immediately with is one guy I just mentioned, and Darius Muasau, one of the best linebackers that we've seen come across the Green Nation top of trim for the last couple of years. Spent the last 2 years in UCLA, kind of furthering his career, getting a little bit better. He was drafted in the 6th round by the New York Giants, and then in the 7th round, Jonah Laulu, who has this massive size, had an amazing pro day in front of scouts, and that basically convinced a couple of scouts, especially those at the Indianapolis Colts, to kind of take a chance on this guy in the seventh round, the final rounds of the NFL draft. Say, let's go ahead and grab him. So he gets the luck of playing alongside a former Hawaii great in Punahou graduate and University of Oregon graduate, DeForest Buckner. Rigoberto Sanchez, a former University of Hawaii alum, is joined by now his fellow somewhat alum in Jonah Laulu there. So that was a lot of fun to see. But of course, right after the NFL draft comes a very unique situation where a lot you have a lot of guys, young guys that are ready to get drafted into the league. They don't necessarily make it, but now they have a chance to kind of negotiate for themselves here in undrafted free agency signing period. And here is where you saw one kind of big name in Chevin Cordero. He gets an undrafted free agent signing with the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seattle Seahawks at this moment only have two active quarterbacks. So yeah, they signed Chevin. They invited a couple of other quarterbacks to try out in their rookie tryouts. So it'll be interesting to see if any of those guys make it, like another familiar name in Taulia Tongo Vailoa, brother of Tua, grew up out here in Eva Beach before moving to Alabama alongside Tua. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see a couple of really great familiar names who really excelled here at the University of Hawaii in Chevin Cordero, Jonah Laulu, Darius Muasau, if they can find success in the NFL. Uh, after they kind of forged their own paths away from the University of Hawaii, after that kind of tough situation with Todd Graham. And, also further shout out to Nick Mardner, the Canadian born wide receiver who was picked second overall in the CFL's draft, where they are free to draft as many Canadian players as possible. So, shout out to Nick Marner being the second overall pick in that draft as he joins fellow um, University of Hawaii alums Hugh Nelson and Blessman Ta'ala. So that's what we have going on our side here on the football direction. Nevan, I'm going to throw it out to him as he is talking with the UH West Oahu League of Legends team, fresh off their major victory.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nevan Isaiah Pack here, back with another episode of Big Duos, here to talk about everything esports and sports related on UH Mānoa campus. And today we're about to be joined by some of the people from on the other side of the island, from a different UH Systems campus. I'm bringing in the UH West Oahu Pueo Gaming team for the game League of Legends. They're brand new NECC champions, and they have a really solid program out on the west side. And I just wanted to sit down and talk with the team. Guys, introduce yourselves. Let me know who's here.
Hi, everyone. My name's Cyrus. I am the League of Legends team captain.
Hi, my name is Melanie. I'm the support player for the team.
I am Micah Murakami. I was the coach for Pueo Gaming team.
My name is Garrett Lau. I am the current president of Pueo Gaming.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. How's everybody's day going? I'm catching y'all towards the end of the semester. Hope everybody's, not like too pressed for time.
Yeah, we're making it, man. We're making it.
Hey, good to hear. Good to hear. All right, guys. So, first off, congrats on winning your championship. Let's take a walk down memory lane for that. This is kind of an open question to anybody who wants to take it first, but kind of what was the prep going into your guys' NECC this tournament?
When we had started out the team, we wanted to make sure that everyone was in the lanes that they were best at. And once we had that situated, we got used to trying different champions that would work well with each other. And Minnie was sort of in charge of making sure that we play champions that were not only good for the meta, but also paired well with each other as well as our playing styles.
I can talk from my perspective and when I joined and stuff.
Yeah, give me a little scenes of what the decision making process was to build out your guys' team comps.
So at the time, I kind of was just observing how we individually play and how we play as a team, and where do most of our mistakes come from, right? And what characters do we look the best at and stuff. And that's when I was okay, well, these set of champions, like we obviously are like better than probably our opponent, and like just it's overall like good at the moment, so we should play these. And when it came to like banning or like knowing what to play against, just like find someone on their team who like the enemy's like team played around with, like kind of just like watch their VODs and see how they play and stuff.
Nice. So a lot of video review, a lot of like making sure you guys did your research. Like that's the kind of stuff that I like to hear, to know that you guys are like actually prepping, right? For all of these, like, it's no fun to like go and win a championship just based off of all your raw talent. At least you guys put in the hard work for it, and you guys got rewarded with a championship. Let's talk about a little bit of like what's the team dynamics like in your guys' eyes. Like, I know that Cyrus, you're the team captain. What is it like to have to lead these guys? Put me in the mind space of Cyrus, and how you kind of like.
Um, I won't exactly say that it was super like any weird leadership style. It's interesting because a good bit of the roster um are like personal friends of mine. So it was always great to play with friends that I knew were good at the game, but it was almost an issue being friends with them because I would start feeling like we were just playing for having fun. And so having people outside of the normal friend group sort of see how they play really helped rein myself as well as like the team together, so that we were able to play to win instead of just playing to have fun, because we for sure had fun, but it was really pressing to make sure that we kept that goal in mind.
Mini Mel's, what is your guys' experience with like the team dynamics, right? Like from like the coach's side, how do you like view the team from the player side? Like what is your guys' experience?
My like just overall experience from playing like league like in tournaments and like playing with people. Um, I feel that like honestly you just need to find like five people that are just each other and have like they know each other very well and they know what they want and they don't want, right? Like that is like I think the strength of like playing with five people. I think knowing how to improve is very difficult, and knowing what to do in the game can be very difficult sometimes, especially when you're the one in the situation. And like I would just try to like you know guide them and tell them what to do, like outside, like even outside the game, or like say like okay like I know we work well, but like we should like do these specific things and then work on them.
If you guys have like any specific experiences of like how the team environment is, right? Like Melanie, like describe what it's like being on the team. What's your guys' chemistry like?
Oh, so for me personally, I felt like the whole team as a whole, like I feel like it was just like talking to friends. Like the whole environment was like pretty like relaxing and chill, I guess. I guess like only like during like certain parts of practice, like if we would like lose a game, I noticed that like we would kind of like, take the time to like figure out like why we were like losing or like what mistakes we were doing and stuff. So I feel like we did have like a few tensions, but because we were like, friends towards each other, like we always like forgave each other. It wasn't anything personal.
Nice.
And
That's good
yeah.
to hear that you guys kind of drop the egos, especially like I know it's hard to like not have an ego, especially with your friends, right? Like you hang out with these guys, you like joke around with them, so like I'm sure that like your guys' professional dynamic and friend dynamic kind of like overlap there a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, okay, so like let's rewind the clock back for a little before the tournament. Like, can you guys tell me how your team was kind of formed? Because I know that Pueo Gaming in general is still a new program, only being formed in 2020, and like you guys didn't even start like national like competitions until 2021. So like, what's kind of like brought the league team together, and like where do you guys find your success?
I was gonna say, in terms of how we might have found our success, I'd call it maybe diligence, because this is not the first time that I've played on the team, and neither is it Melanie's. We've been on this team multiple times, and we've gotten better each and every semester. So I think that's a little bit of where that starts off. We started off really poorly, and we've only gotten better.
Nice.
Yeah. And
I think
for me, oh, sorry, you can go first.
no, go ahead.
So for me, I remember I think like I was unsure for this the last semester. I was unsure of like joining the team, but I remember talking to Garrett and he told me that like anyone from like the UH system can join. So I was like, "Oh, like I had this friend." So I asked him, I was like, "Oh, would you like to like, play 80 carry for our team or like just join the team?" So that's how we got like one of the 80 carries to join our team. And then at first like he was like the sub 80 carry and then he later like moved on to like a main 80 carry. And I also asked Minnie because if I asked Minnie if he could be our coach just because like he would always ask me about like, oh, if I need help with like picking like champs for a team.
So, my like how I joined the team was like I was just in the library doing work, and then Mel was like, "You want to join?" I was like, "Oh, sure." Like I was really excited. I like knew like no one expecting what to expect. Um, yeah, I ended up like help. I felt like I helped a lot, and it was like kind of slow at first, and like to be honest, I feel like in general I'm just like younger than everyone there, so I feel like it was a bit harder, you know, for my voice to be heard, which is understandable. But eventually I felt like we were like improving a lot during the semester and stuff, and it really showed.
Good to hear that like your guys' whole like journey hasn't just been like sunshine and rainbows, right? Like every good underdog story starts out with a little bit of trial and tribulation. Garrett, you think you could talk to me a little bit about like how Pueo was formed and like what it kind of took to get you guys into like position to be able to like compete at the national level across your guys' different games?
I I do have to say that I did not find, or I was not a founder of Pueo Gaming. We did have some old administration, or like who was ever like president and all that higher up positions. I joined the club just as a member. I joined it off because I myself actually tried out for League of Legends. I saw an announcement on La Lima, and I thought it was like, oh, this seems to be pretty fun because I actually just transferred to UH West Oahu at the time, and this was during the pandemic. A gaming club is like, oh yeah, cool. Let's join it. And then I was able to meet the people there, and then over time it kind of got slower. It got really slow and I was just a member. I had no power whatsoever, so I can't really do too much with the club at the time. But he still had the president title, and then I asked, "Oh, how can I help?" Because at the time, I believe this is when we just started entering national competition. So this was around fall 2021, going to spring 2022. We did have a league team, and I believe Mel was on that league team, and that was our first
Yeah,
ever League of Legends team, and Mel was the only existing member, who
I
won
was on the
the
JV.
champ, yeah,
Yeah.
or something like that, yeah. And then, um, I was actually the team captain for the Valorant team. So Puyo Gaming had 2 competitive esports collegiate rosters in national competition, and then yeah, I just remember going from fall 2021, which was our inaugural seasons, to spring 2022. There was like absolutely nothing happening except I'd say just the Valorant team. So then I contacted the president at the time and I said, "Do you need any help? I am interested in esports." And from there, I kind of guided Puyo Gaming to where I wanted it to be like an actual like a collegiate team, a collegiate organization, but of course our club still, but we are able to compete in national competition. So I'd say like our breakthrough, or like our I think our real start in the collegiate esports world would probably be fall 2022. And I believe we had 2 Valorant teams, we had a league team, and we had a Super Smash Brothers team. And I believe Cyrus over here was on that fall 2022 League of Legends team. So that was a start for him. And then I believe Mel was also like a sub for that team as well. And if I do compare that fall 2022 League of Legends team to what we had last fall where we won the championship. It's just a major difference. And I think I can only commend, you know, I think Cyrus was really the glue. Melanie was also a big contribution, is that Cyrus played um fully. He was on starting lineup. He was named, I believe, team captain during that fall 2022 season. And then, you know, it just built up from there. So these two huge contributions, and then also getting the rest of the team members who are, you know, really close friends to Cyrus and now pretty close friends to all of us. So I just see the progression from like the start of Puyo Gaming, esports, and all that to like where we are now. And I think it's just a beautiful thing in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome to hear that you guys have like such a storied history in only a couple years. Um Actually like that kind of reminds me, Garrett, thank you. Let me hear how you guys kind of got into esports and like what your journey up until like this point in I guess gaming has been. Like what got you into gaming, and then like how did that like love for gaming evolve into like you joining an esports team? Because like that's not an experience that every gamer can say that they did, right? So like you guys are already in like a like different class of your own by just like joining the team over there at Pueo. So like yeah, I'd love to hear how you guys kind of like got into it all.
That's actually I think that's a pretty funny question. Because my parents actually hate that I play video games, but what they don't understand is they're the ones that got me into playing video games in the first place. They started me on this addiction, man. When I was a kid, they would when they would get their hair done, they would always have like a joystick or something plugged into the TV, and every so often they'd let me play it as a kid, and then that's when the addiction started, man. Like that's when it all happened. I was like 6 years old playing like Super Mario or something, and then that only snowballed further and further. And I only ever really played games like recreationally. So when I don't know if it was Garrett or if it was another classmate that I had that originally introduced me to Puyo Gaming. But when I was given the option to play League in a competitive setting, I was a little bit hesitant at first because I mean I've only ever really played games like recreationally. Like I've never really like try harded because it feels like it takes away some of the enjoyment. At least that's what I thought then. But after having tried harder and harder and learning the game more and more, it sort of rekindled a passion for certain games that I didn't think I had anymore. It felt like I was kind of going through some motions when it came to playing certain games, but after looking at them all differently, I realized that I was having a lot more fun and having a lot more fun playing with different people.
Honestly, like for me, I had this one friend. He was like, we've been friends since like elementary school, and he was like, oh, like I really started kind of just using the computer because of him. He was like, oh, like you should play this fun game called Minecraft. I was like, okay, and then he got me really addicted. And then as I got older, I started like playing Overwatch, kind of which is kind of like League, I guess, like a 5v5 competitive aspect, and I was really competitive that game as well. Um, I really liked the game for a long time, but like after a while, it just I guess like I felt that the balance was not like going in a direction that I wanted to play in or I thought was like enjoyable. So I kind of quit. And that same friend who like told me like, yo, you should play Minecraft. He's like, oh, like you should play League of Legends. You know, it's a really fun game. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started playing it, and I just got addicted. And then um, I originally was my first like ever kind of 5v5 team, like playing for an esports team would be like probably playing at HPU because I originally was going to HPU. I'm currently at KCC, but yeah, that was like my experience like signing up for like a scholarship there and like playing, and so like that was like my really first experience like playing as a five. And after I got really into like the team side of League, because to be honest, like playing League in like by yourself and like playing like solo queue is like way different than like playing as five. Like the game just feels a lot different, and like it's just a lot more enjoyable and it's a lot more interesting to like you know like research, like study, and like just look at it. And then after like HBU stuff, I met Mel, and then Mel asked me for some like, oh, like you can like, do you want to help me do like this coaching thing for like the Pueo? I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then that's how I joined the team.
Oh, and for me, I guess so I was kind of like a casual gamer. Like when I was younger, I would mostly play like Pokemon, like Tetris, like Clash Royale, I think. But I think like one of my friends actually showed me League of Legends, and I remember playing the game and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of fun," but like I wasn't really like ever into it until like COVID happened, and I remember just like, being at home a lot. So I was like, "Oh, like I have nothing else to do besides like, like play a game." So I tried to play like League of Legends, and I got like extremely addicted to that game. And then I think during my first season, I got like a gold. And in my head, I was like, oh, like, like some people on the first season, like they get like, like silver. So I was like, oh, like okay, in my head, like I had like a tiny ego, like, oh, like I felt like good at the game. So that like inspired me to, like play more because I felt like, oh, maybe I can climb faster or just, like, get better as a player. And then I remember like getting into esports because like some of my friends they wanted to watch like the League of Legends like World Champions, the finals, and I remember watching it and thinking it was like really really interesting and so cool. But how I got into how I got onto the team was I saw like an email that our school was like advertising an esports club, and it like mentioned League of Legends. So I was like, "Oh, like, I really like that game, so I wanted to join," basically. Like, I didn't ever think, like, "Oh, like, I wanted to, like, competitively play." I just wanted to, like, join to be a part of, like, like, the league community and, like, meet new friends. So after I joined, like, I realized, like, oh, like, I actually do also love, like, playing competitively because I do like the rush, and I do also, like, enjoy meeting, like, all the new friends in that, like, community, but I think that's, like, what got me, like, really interested in esports. And, like, I guess, like, last semester and, like, maybe, like, the semester before that, like, I really kinda wanted to, like, I guess, like, further my knowledge in it. So, I know Garrett actually, like, asked me to do, like, a few things, like, relating like, a few esports related events, like an APRU, like, esports fellowship program and, like, I guess, like, an internship, a social media marketing internship. That was, like, through, I think it was through, UH Esports, though. But, yeah, I just remember, like, getting into, like, I guess, like, the career side of esports, and I also, like, kinda thought, like, "Oh, maybe, like, I wanna pursue something in this," but, I mean, it was just yeah. But that's basically how I got into esports.
Esports? Okay, so I guess video games in the first place. I was pretty much born into a household of like gamers. Like it wasn't really like competitively or anything. It was more like, the Nintendo systems. Like we had the Nintendo 64. Before that, even we had the Super Nintendo. And then we also had GameCube, then Nintendo Wii, and my family did like playing video games, like Mario Kart, Mario Party, and Wii Sports came out too. It was just really fun. But then I later, started to get into like other video games, such as like, the ones on I had an Xbox 360. I'd say the Xbox 360 was like the console I spent the most time on. And I actually was involved in esports in general. I competed in NBA 2K in like 2012, 2013, and this was MLG. This is Major League Gaming, and that's
Whoa, that's
very
an
old.
oldie.
Yeah, that's very old. So I competed in like the online tournaments, and then I did win um one of their bigger tournaments. So I did get some prize money from that, but I still don't know how that was possible. But now, seeing from there, seeing like how big esports grew is just completely insane, in my opinion. I've always had a passion for esports because I also played a lot of League of Legends from like 2012 or like even like 2011, and then I'll keep up with the LCS or at the time it was the NALCS for North America. And then, I always love watching like TSM, Cloud9, like their OG rosters almost uh every week. And then there was even like an aspect of fantasy made by LOL Esports. So that's how I really got to know like a lot of the players, and I really kept up with the scene. So yeah. And then when I got to college, this was more like um yeah, when I graduated 2017, I was actually into music. So I majored in music, and that was like my passion. That was what I really wanted to do. But then unfortunately, um I saw a lot more of my classmates progressing more than I was. I wanted to become a band director, and if you want like a band director job, there's only like a handful per year because it's either, people leave, people retire, and there's only going to be so much music director jobs out there. So I just decided to, kind of cut my losses because I knew that there were better candidates than me as a band director. So then I moved to education as a major, and that's when I transferred to UH West Oahu. And this is when the pandemic hit as well. Yeah. And then, as I said before, I saw an email in La Lima advertising the gaming esports club, Pueo Gaming, and the League of Legends, like what Mel said as well. And then that's how I kind of joined esports. And then over time, this is also over time. When I became president, this was my first semester. I I decided that esports is something that I wanted to pursue, and this is what I want to do as a career because I find so much joy in esports than actually teaching like at a school, you know. So I decided to switch my major to creative media because that was, I think, like the closest thing I could think of when it came to esports. And I'm currently a creative media major, and the career I want to pursue is esports. So like what Melanie said, she participated in the APRU fellowship. I also did that as well as it was the Vanta internship this past summer.
Mm.
I was part of the event operations team with my partner Benjamin Crawford. And then yeah, I mean, ever since then I've been working a lot with multiple organizations. I think Hawaii Pacific University is the one I've been helping out the most. I plan to help out EMP because they also helped me out a lot at KawaiiCon this past year. Uh, EMP's cool. Also, uh, yeah, just UH Sports in general and Eva Mackay Middle School. I've been helping them out as well, and they have a great program there too. And yeah, I mean, I just love esports. I guess that's what I really want to do in the future because I think it brings out such a nice atmosphere when people are cheering for people playing video games and how hype it can be.
Yeah, no, I totally get you, Garrett. It's addicting to see how, I guess, just like passionate people can be about playing video games and how much like our peers can really like care about this thing that we like put so much time into. And like it's so great to hear all of your guys' amazing stories on how you got here and like all of the things that like whether it be family, whether it be friends, whatever got you into gaming. It's actually like super heartwarming to see like how you guys are now, and like how like all of those little experiences kind of like built you up to who you are today. um Circling back around to the tournament, and enough with the gross feelings. Yeah, tell me how that finals went. I heard you guys went for a full like 5 hours. I'm guessing y'all went the full 5 rounds. What was the NECC competition like? Like, tell me what it was like to play against some of the best like teams in your guys' like conference.
Oh man. First off, that final, like,
Oh my
don't get me
god.
wrong, it was
Oh my
awesome to
god.
win, but for like maybe a couple of weeks leading up to the final, the general consensus from the group was like, guys, it's finals right now. I want to lose so I can study because otherwise I'm gonna fail my classes. So I just told everyone, like, hey guys, skill issue. We're just gonna have to get through it, and then we're gonna win, and then we're gonna win at college too.
There's
And
so many games that were so close too.
oh,
Oh
they
Yeah,
were
man.
so close. It was like
No.
it.
the Katarina game, my gosh.
No,
So
oh my
many
god. Don't get me started.
so many games were pretty
Nay.
much we were kind of going steady early on, and then it looked like we were like on the path to losing, and half of the times it felt like the only reason why we ended up winning is because they didn't know how to end out the game, or they just couldn't end out the game fast enough. And over that time we scaled and we would just pull out a victory, but it was always like edge of your seat kind of deal. So anyone that was watching the games, I mean, they at least had something entertaining to watch because they were intense for sure.
Okay. Okay, I want to talk on this, but like, so like the point of the comms that we had were like super, like we were trying to find our identity, like midway through. I guess like we started losing, like dropping games that like we were losing fuel when we should not be losing, and then I think that's when we were like, okay, well something has to change if we want to win, right? So we started changing and like molding our identity, I guess, and like having champs and like a style that we wanted, and we were trying to like get better at that style. So like the whole split was like just focus on getting better at that, and I think at the end like we became a lot better at that style than like when we first started. So like a lot of the games like super close because we were not good at like executing, or like our comps would normally just be around us like playing not very aggressive early, but I guess like we weren't very used to that, right? So it just looked kind of messy, but like towards the end, like you could really see the progress.
I mean, hey, dude, like balancing school and balancing like participating in like extracurriculars like esports, like sports in general, like it's got to be hard, right? But that's why you guys are like called student athletes. That's why you're put in that position where it's like you're pursuing your academics and you're going out there to compete to represent your school and like yourselves and like your team. Um, let's talk about that final. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of like what those 5 games of what I'm guessing were a slog was, right? Like 5 hours of League of Legends is a hard session no matter whether you win or lose. So like describe it to me. What are some of the ups, what are some of the downs?
Hmm.
What were some of the highlights? What are some of the things that stick out in your guys' head?
Yeah, we almost lost because for some reason we thought it'd be nice to leave Katarina open.
Yeah, you got something you wanna talk to us about,
Yeah,
Vinny?
like 'cause every time we lost, the thing that made me the most mad as like a coach is every time I would be like, guys, we just need to like ban a certain character or like just not do this, and then like it would just happen. Like I don't know why, but like we ended up just not doing it, and then like we would almost lose, and I'd be like, come on, please, like we can't. Like I would get like so stressed out.
For
That's like
for context, the Katarinas or their mid laner's name was Walmart Evolved.
which is like a Katarina one trick like name. Like his name
Cat
is like
Cat
Cat
Evolved.
Evolved. So like and then I was like, guys, we need to like just ban his 3 best champs because he seemed like the best player and everyone else seemed like kind of mediocre. So in like most of the games, it just seemed like he was like doing backflips like when his team like the game, right?
He
And
was though.
yeah, and like oh my gosh, like I was like, guys, like we cannot leave Katarina open. And then one game, I think like everyone was like, oh, like we can just leave Katarina open. We can just play around. I was like, well, okay, it's fine. And this guy was like, oh my god, it was so scary. Like we almost lost,
Oh
and
yeah, there's
like
Yumi too, right? It was a cat and Yumi, so like it was just
yeah, it was like oh my goodness, like it was so like scary. Like just watching it. But like I'm so glad like we won.
we're just
No,
limit testing.
it sounds like sounds like an
limit
intense
testing the
series.
finals.
Yeah, like I mean, a lot of the games were like super. It was like 40 minutes or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it was really
Like
close.
40 minutes like each game about it was really long. Like I mean a
But
lot
not
of
the
the team
last
comps
game
like
though. I think the last game was kind
oh
of just
yeah
stomp on the side.
yeah we kind of just stomped the last game. I remember because like we like to play like Ziggs ASOL, so like a lot of the games would just be like for context it's like those champs just those characters just like take a really long time to just do their thing, right? Like you want to just play the game slow, like not like do a lot of things early and like have a stable early game so that you can like um pivot into like the late game like really well and like do like do more later on, right? And it was like really hard because like I guess they were trying to force us to do things early, and like we would just have to stall out the game like really late so we could like have more impact, you know, and like just do like we could close out the game, you know, because our characters did more as their characters like fell off.
No, that's actually like so funny to hear from you guys how like one person can like ruin or like threaten to ruin all of your like hopes and dreams. Because I know here at UH Esports we're notorious for losing to SJSU and specifically Tom Goku. Like it's kind of soul crushing how one person can just like upend everything you worked for.
Oh my gosh,
But
there's so many examples of this though. By the way, like sorry, like I remember one game I said, guys, Cassante is OP this patch. Just ban Cassante, and for some odd reason we left Cassante open, and like I was so upset because I remember after the game, like he was the only reason they won, and I was so salty. I was like, guys, like we have to start like please, like come on, like we have to ban Cassante. Like this character's so OP. Like it was like, my God, I can remember those so vividly, like those moments.
I mean, dude, honestly, some characters are just broken. Some characters are just like, you know, it takes the pilot to make that character dangerous. But speaking of like pilots that make it dangerous, like let me hear about not about the enemy team. What are some of your guys' highlights that you remember from your own plays? What are some of the clutch moments that you can still remember your hands going through and you like shaking afterwards of like how the heck did I do that? You know, like how did we survive that team fight? How did we pull this win out?
That's a good one. Towards the end, like this, I think this had to have been like either the very last game or the second to last game that we had played. But we had sort of gotten it into our head that our ADC is literally like, at least I had to get into my head. The ADC is the carry. The carry is in the name. They are the damage, and so I played Maokai, one of Minnie's recommendations, and in my mind, I was just like, okay, you got to protect the president. You got to protect the president. So I built so many different items to help Pueo for this person. And I always want to like just go in and engage and just do crazy shit all the time. But when I had to like understand that I had to keep this guy alive, anytime any movement was made towards him, I like would freak out and do everything I could to peel for him. And the last team fight that we had was pretty much the entire enemy team realizing that we had to kill the ADC and me just doing my absolute best to buy as much time as I could for him. And it was like a single ability that ended up being missed because I CC'd someone that was trying to kill him that ended up like allowed him to wipe the team and want us like that second or that last game.
Oh yeah. So for me, I just think about like the game where the mid laner locked in Katarina, because I think like towards like the end of the game, like I think like almost I don't know how much people died on your team, but I think there's like a lot like me, and I think like the jungler died, and I think it was like only like maybe like Trey, the AD carry, and like maybe like the top laner too. But I remember like we thought like oh it was over, like we were gonna lose, and then I think the Katarina like dove us, and our AD carry and like our mid laner played it really well, and I think I remember our AD carry actually like getting like a pentakill, and then we kind of like won the game after that.
For me, I'm just a
Right.
coach, so like I think the best part is just like just crafting our drafts was so fun, and like just being like, oh my gosh, like our draft is so OP, like you know.
I think if I were to add on to that, I was there. I was shoutcasting the game. Just the fact that we are 3 minute delayed. Um, and then we see the reactions from the actual team of what's going on. Myself and my co-caster Branson, we always try to look over to see what was happening in real time because what we had we couldn't. We're 3 minutes behind, and then I think talking about that pentakill, and then that's how they won the game basically. I just remember the whole team kind of in disbelief, like they all stood up, they're all looking at each other, they're like, what just happened? So I think like those kind of moments, especially when you're like kind of an outsider point of view, you're kind of like, okay, that's really interesting. And I thought that was really funny.
It's fun, I think, especially from like the viewers standpoint because of the delay that like what we're watching is not what the players are going through at that exact moment, but then like to see the player reaction and then be like, okay, in 3 minutes something like either really cool or really bad is about to happen, and I'm going to
Yeah,
have context for what I just saw. Those are some
definitely.
of my like favorite things, like even casting or like watching games. um but yeah, no, thank you so much, guys. That's just about all the questions I got for you. Really appreciate you guys sitting down with me, talking with me, and like I hope your guys' next season is gonna be another championship win. Got to come back, defend your title. What are gonna be some of your guys' future plans for like next year? You guys rejoining the team? You guys graduating? What's going on with y'all?
I believe Melanie already graduated, so that was her last season with the team. And currently, right now, we do not have a league team. I kind of just thought that, if they want to take a break, they got the championship, they got the bag, they can just take a break and stuff like that. And that's exactly what they did. But for future plans, Minnie was thinking about playing. Yeah, Minnie.
Yep. I wanted to play again
Yeah, but
because
unfortunately,
I just like, for me it's like I'd rather just play with people I know, like, because I think that's just better, like especially for a 5v5 environment. So like, and like some of the people that that um that I helped that were on the team are probably gonna come back too. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, if I've played with them before too, and like we do have some synergy, so it's like be a good chance to come back and play again.
Oh, then I'll come back and I'll coach you.
oh yeah, yeah.
The roles reversed.
Good to hear that. I'm gonna get to see another round of you guys playing some amazing games. It's been such a lovely time talking with you guys. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have an amazing day. This has been another episode of Big Duos with Nevan and Tanner, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.